I just want to say why I'm here. I've been appointed by the South Yorkshire Community Foundation, whose sole rep this evening is Karen at the back, and my very happy job is to evaluate how well the £900,000 which came to Kimberworth has been spent. And you're going to help do this. We're going to issue some sheets and we're just going to get you to work for 10 or 15 minutes to tell us your feedback about the Fair Share Trust. Some of you may have had no involvement, but many of you will. And we just want to get a few points captured about why it's been important to this area.
What I want to say is that the Fair Share money is the basis of always what's happening more or less in Kimberworth Park. Not everything, but a lot of the things that are happening in Kimberworth Park. And maybe now you've got a different set of funders around, but the basis of that funding started off with Fair Share, and we were able to get extra money from the Fair Share money to continue. So almost all our projects that started off with an idea in people's heads are still here. But tonight is for you to have a chance to say this to somebody else, not to me, perhaps again to each other, but you're going to be able to say it to Peter so he can hear that for his evaluation of Fair Share. So that can be written up, and it can be written up in a broader sense. And perhaps the more powers that be will hear that giving opportunities for local people to think vision and think strategically and make a difference to their community, that's what you've done.
For me, I think the best impact has been that it's actually brought the residents of the area together. So we've really got that community spirit starting to come through, which I think in a lot of areas, unfortunately, we lost years ago. But I think the good thing's been as well the fact that because the community's been involved as an equal partner in the saying of how the money would be spent through the community panel, it's really meant that Kimberworth Park have got the resources that the community felt they needed and not what other people thought they needed. So it's been really good.
It's great to be here tonight to actually sort of see how passionate the people are about the projects. Obviously what I see in the office is quite a dry reflection of what's happening, and it's really, really difficult to get that across. What you see today is passionate, enthusiastic people who express how they are all interconnected, how the Fair Share money has done what it says on the tin. You know, the social capacity's there. This particular group had to meet some fantastic challenges when this Chislett building was going to be closed down. They rose to the challenge, they've taken the building on. That building, or this building, is now in community ownership, and look what a fantastic job they've done.
I'm here, very fortunate to be here with the lovely musical group Musicality. They are a singing group rather than a choir. It's an age range from about 50-ish to 85-ish, although Joseph is very proud of his 85 years and still very young. Yeah, they're a fantastic group of people. I've been here a couple of years now, and you can really see the regeneration happening and starting to bear fruit. It's the bringing together of all those quite disparate communities before. I've done performances at Wingfield School, and that auditorium there is absolutely beautiful and spot on, and the young people there can then get work experience, starting to do sound, visuals. The whole performance element really draws together the musical and creative strand of the work that Fair Share helped to establish, and was used as match for some of the money that I got on board with Get Kimberworth Park Singing, which was the project I first came to Kimberworth Park to do, and then Musicality came out of that.
People here were quite successfully already having visions for how the area might work. People were coming from different areas of activity, but they were listening to each other and prepared to work collaboratively. So it was a good climate, really, in terms of the relationships here. And I think the only thing that at that time people, perhaps across the country, there was a feeling that the statutory sector came from outside the area with a single-stranded mission. They'd have something around a particular health issue or a particular problem around young people, and they would just want to address that problem in isolation, and when they'd done that they then wanted to go away again, and people started to feel that was all right, but it meant that they weren't really driving that process and they weren't being listened to maybe sufficiently.
It's brought this community together. It's rekindled and reignited a sense of community in this area. I was brought up in Sheffield in the 60s where there was a sense of community, and I've seen it largely disappear. I can see it now flourishing and growing back again in this area, certainly in this area. It's becoming the Kimberworth Park community again.
I think the relationships will carry on, and the concept of working across the community for as long as people possibly can, they'll continue to do that. So I think that the legacy might be around the relationships that have been built, and as long as people who've been part of that experience are around, they'll have that memory and they will continue to work in that way as far as they possibly can.
It's hopefully going to leave a vibrant hub being the Chislett Centre in the community. That's what something that's tangible that you can see, touch, feel. But what else is going to leave? It's going to leave, I hope, a feeling for the community that there are other agencies out there, the work that people do together to help the community. What I mean by that is, as a police organisation, you would very seldom see us in the past working hand in hand with the voluntary services, with youth workers, with gymnasiums, but now it's there. We've got some fantastic relationships on here, and certainly myself with the staff at Chislett, we've got a relationship where we can share pretty much everything. So that's something that you can't touch, feel or quantify, but it certainly exists, and that will be for me one of the major legacies of the project.
In terms of the fair share funding, when it initially came in, I actually worked for Rotherham Borough Council, and this was a Rotherham Borough Council building, and to actually get any funding as being part of the statutory body was nigh on impossible. And so when fair share funding came along, it meant that we could actually bid for something that people had been asking for a long, long time, particularly young men at that time. They'd been asking for a community gym. And Fair Share gave us that opportunity to apply for capital funding, which built the gym on the side of the building. We also accessed funding to train other people as gym instructors. What we were doing with that is that we were asking them that we'd fund that training through various pots and match funding to, if we did that, then they'd agree to doing so many voluntary hours as gym instructors, which meant that people could develop their skills as instructors and also keep our business open and develop that experience as well, which would then enable them to go and get jobs in other gyms. A lot of the young people that we do work with don't necessarily have a positive image in the local community, but after meeting some of the older members within the centre, then they develop those relationships which help outside the centre. And what it's also done as well, in particular with the Fair Share panel, it's meant that, such as the church, the Tara, the over 50s and Chislett, we were all sort of like quite separate, whereas now we're much more of a group. So if there's events going on, then we'll go and support other groups like the Tara in there, any ventures that they're doing, and they'll support us. So there's a lot more working together and relationships. But the police as well, I mean, that's been another key factor within it all.
I get involved through my work as a police community support officer. It's a big word, community, and I take it seriously, as do South Yorkshire Police in general. I was being given free rein, really, by my bosses to get involved in the community. Not only me, but the team that I supervise as well. I suppose I'm the leader of that team, being the supervisor, but I make sure not only myself, but all my team get involved in certain areas. And because the Chislett building was so close to our office when we were up here, it's literally a minute's two's walk away. I was around there all the time, and I got involved in projects from the choir to the gym, to a youth working with youth on a project called Exclusive for Young Boys and Unique for Young Girls. I've recently qualified through the Fair Share Catalyst as a gym instructor. I also have just this week qualified as a youth worker, so I could now come and work in this centre at the request of the staff here, should they want me.
I think it's made a massive impact on the way that communities have worked together. Up until 10 years ago, there was very little real community activity, very little. But over a period of 3 or 4 years, it gradually began, and things, I think, have gone from strength to strength. I think the key thing about the fair share is that it was 10 years. There's no way that sustainable regeneration projects can be 3 years and 2 years and 5 years. This was 10 years, and I think that was the key. So we've seen tonight that it's made a big impact, particularly in community facilities, the gym, Chislett itself. That, plus the fact that people are working together a lot more closely, and I think have grown in confidence as a result of working together, and it's been a real success in community development, really. As money's important, but unless people are actually working together and it's targeted in a real strategic way, then you can throw money at all sorts of things and it won't work. I think the government or somebody ought to come and have a look at how less than £1 million has been spent in about 8 years, and I think there probably won't be many better examples, I don't think, of so many people and so many groups working together.